All right, friends. So what we're doing tonight is we're going to set up the rep lift demo that we were working on last time and get started with some Supabase tables because we're going to start adding some persistence layer to this app. And yeah, I just kind of want to make sure everybody knows how to set this up. And like I said earlier, I've got some API keys that you're going to see here. I know that you shouldn't share those publicly. I am doing it for the purposes of demonstration, and I will be changing them right after before I post these videos. So you can give it a shot, but they won't work. So here we go. Gonna switch over to the laptop and jump right in here to Supabase. So this is the Supabase project we're using, and if you go to the table editor, you shouldn't see anything, right? So there's no tables here, and there's no database. And I'm kind of going to struggle through this from scratch. Like I want to have a genuine experience of like what you get when you do this. And if we flip over here to cursor, we're just going to start with, well, let's do this. Let's make sure the app runs. So pnpm run dev. So we're going to get a quick reminder of what this app looks like. All right. So this is the weightlifting planner. And last time we made it so we could sign in. Let's see. Is that my login? Yeah, looks like that logged me in. Some styling issues. We're going to let that fly for now. I'll clean that up later. That's not the purpose of the demo. And then, you've got these stats. So what if we just kind of try to say, we want to be able to save these stats and reload them? Um, and I guess we want to save a date because someday down the road, I'm going to make it so that like when you complete a workout, it can bump your numbers, right? So like as you improve your squat, it increases. As you improve your bench, it increases. So let's try to describe that requirement. And that's the table we want to insert into Supabase. And we're going to have, hopefully it's going to generate migrations for us. So let's try to describe that. So we want to uh, add our first Supabase table to this project. So of course, we are going to want to use migrations, and we'll probably need help initializing the database. We already have secrets locally, but we may have to change them. And then we want to save the contents of this screen that is attached associated with the logged in user's UUID. Each row should have a column for the following values, all in decimal format since fractional values are possible. And we're looking at body weight, 2 years lifting. This will be an integer. Squat weight, deadlift weight, bench weight, and 6 is overhead press weight. And 2, yep, that looks like that's correct. And then I guess we want a boolean for elite fitness. And then we want to make sure we save a date time value for this because it can change over time. Great. Let's also set a column for cycle number, and it is an integer. The reason I'm setting a cycle number is because theoretically, when you go through a 4-week period, it's a full cycle. We'll see how if we actually use that. All right, see what we get. So it says I'm going to help you with your migration. That's fantastic. Let's see what's it saying to us. It's gonna says it doesn't have anything going there, so we're gonna run this command. That's gonna help us out. So that's setting up Supabase locally. Okay. That creates our migrations directory. So sometimes you get these things that are asking for feedback. You have to go over to the terminal and accept it. Generate VS Code settings for Deno. Like, I actually didn't mean to do that, but I did it. So great. So it named it Create Fitness Metrics. I'm pretty happy with that. Um, it's creating a migration for me. It looks like it got all my stuff right. Let's kind of look back here. My ID is a UUID, which is what I want. My user UUID references the auth table. That's great. Gives me a timestamp. Body weight, years lifting, integer, correct. Squat, deadlift, and bench and overhead, and then a Boolean. Perfect. And then a cycle number. And look at that. It gave me a constraint. Years lifting greater than and cycle number. That'll work. And then add indexes. I'm good with those indexes. See, some of the stuff is stuff that chances are the normal person that was doing this would like totally forget. And it looks like it creates a policy for the auth user, which is pretty cool. And then row level security. So awesome. And cool. So I'm just going to accept this, and that sets the file. And then what we're going to have to do, I believe, is run these commands. So we go over here, see if I have Supabase. I already have it installed because I use it elsewhere, and it just tells you to install it. And then it's going to say link project ref, and I could have run that directly from from the composer window, but I didn't. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is where I have to remember my password, but I don't remember it. So we're gonna have to go back and get it. I could probably I know what I can do. All right, I had to look up a password. And it does appear to have worked. So now we're just going to copy the Supabase DB push, and chances are it's going to try to push these migrations. What this means is it's going to run that SQL script that we just saw against the database, and then I go check to make sure it ran, and boom, there's our table. So what's super cool about this is you would normally need to be running like a Docker container with a database, or like running a local database. And Supabase just gives you a really nice way to be creative and push your stuff out there and test things. So I guess the last check, if we want to see it work, is how do we share this? Share this with other developers. And back to our Git lesson, we should be able to look at our code that's changed, and you can see only a handful of things changed here, and all this stuff should just get checked in. So adding fitness metrics table to Supabase dbdef. And I already have a branch, so I'm just going to push that branch to my origin. So that saves my changes up to GitHub, and I don't have to worry about them disappearing on me for the next thing I'm going to do. Because now I'm going to do this where I zoom in here and I say, now I want to make sure that when I click on click on generate workout plan, it saves the data to the database record 1. If it's the first time I've filled this form out, it makes a new record. 2. If I don't change anything, then no need to save. And if I do change something, then make a new record. So basically what I'm saying is we're not doing any like upserting or updating, which maybe is the right way and maybe it's not. I'm not going to overthink it. I kind of just want to make it usable for me and my friends. So let's see what it does here. So I like that, I think Cursor's kind of getting better at this, but it like is learning a little bit about what's here in this code base before it starts recommending what it's going to do. And I think that's something I've seen them, slowly improving. And it's defining a nice interface slash model for me in TypeScript. I'll accept it, but let's just let it finish doing its thing. Looks like it's updating the form, so it's using the auth context, which is good. Let's see, created a new file, fitness metrics. And this has got the interface in it, the get last fitness metric. So that's actually hitting the database, which is, under the covers, probably generating some SQL somewhere, but it's SQL-like. And this is a save, so it just inserts a new one and then some equality checking. Interesting how it interpreted that. I'll take it though. It's like a hashing kind of function. Just an equality check, checking each one for equality. All right, accept all. It is interesting. It did appear to have changed, actually. It looked like it was mentioning the SQL file, but I don't think it updated. All right, so here's what we've got. Let's look back here. It's always good to check this stuff. Okay, so it defaults to SQL number 1, latest metric, calls use effect. So this is just where it's getting the metric out of the database, setting the value on the form data if it gets anything. And then the handle submits now an async function, which is going to call. Great, it just takes the form data and saves it to the database. And we had it set up to where I think it was using like local data somewhere, so I'm kind of wondering if that's going to be a weirdness, but let's see what happens. So it's loading the data properly here. I'm just going to click generate workout plan. And I guess the way I kind of test this is just to make sure that like if I go to the database and I hit the tables, I should see a row in here. And usually you can do that from the table editor as well. So you don't see anything here. So it didn't save that data the way we want it to, which says to me something's not quite right. And that's okay. These things happen. This is why you have to test what comes out of these guys. Sometimes you wonder, did you accept the changes? Ah, here we go. So I need to go here. I almost wonder, since I didn't change it, did it? Let's say my body weight's 225 and just hit that guy again and see if that worked. Not even really applying any brain power quite yet. Okay. I just tested, and when I test, I see nothing new in my database table. Are you sure we are wired up to save when I click generate on the form? Sometimes nice to just let it do some thinking for you. And look, there it is. We're not including the user ID, and that's why. And I bet I could have looked to see, but I bet there was like an error. And let's just check. If we look here, boom, there's an error. 406. Um, you can look down here at what it did. Contains no rows. And we'll look at this again in a moment. It's probably going to make an adjustment here. But you really want to be looking at these. So you can see here, did a fetch. And here, what did it do? Looks like it's doing some cores work too here. Cross origin. Okay, let's just try that guy again. All right. So we're going to hit generate. Failed to save your metric. So giving a little help back to our user, which is good. And failed to save our metrics. Wonder what happened that time. Network. Getting a user response, which is good. Cool. And then we make our not acceptable. So this is that select statement. And I guess we could just copy this error to try to give it a little bit of help. Interesting. I've never tried to understand this error before. That looks like a new Chrome feature that I haven't used. When I get this error, oh, I seem to get an error when doing the initial fetch, even though I don't have anything in the database. This is normal for new users, so it's okay. Can we handle that case, please? So we just want to build a little bit of error handling here. Ah, I see. It's just an issue in syntax. Ugh. Is this really how we want to handle this? The hard-coded Postgres. Yuck. It's what a weird if error or not data or data.length equals 0. So it's just logging console errors. I don't know that I need that, but oh, it's saying to only log the console error as long as it's not this particular console error. It's not how I would have thought to code that, but that's potentially not wrong. So what did we get this time? Okay, so this time we had an error saving null value and cycle number. You know, it's funny. I knew I shouldn't have added that stupid cycle number. Had no use for that. I get this error when saving. That's funny. Yeah, let's let that get fixed up. It's because we don't set it anywhere. I will say, I mean, like just in my handful of weeks playing with Cursor, it does seem like it's getting better. I mean, like this review of the starting to review code, and I don't have to like tell it which files, which is really nice. All right, let's look at the full app now and see if we got ourselves back to normal. Okay. Cool. Do we have anything in the database? We do. So that's it. That's how you get stuff flowing in. And that's like kind of the hello world check that I do when I'm getting started with Supabase is just make sure I have data flowing in and out and make sure that I get my migrations working properly. And then you can start to really be creative and define what it is you want the app to do. But this is the way to get started. So I hope this helps everybody. I think what these past couple of videos have done is show you how to get your work saved, which I've noticed a few folks aren't aware of. And I showed you the command line ways to do that and the way to commit that code using the interface. And then have shown you how to start a new Supabase project and set up authentication. And now I've shown you how to do your database table migrations. So I'm probably going to shut this guy down, change all my secrets, and then start doing some work outside of this project because I want to start saving this data and sharing this app with some friends. But hey, I appreciate everybody taking a look at this, and I would really appreciate any comments or likes and subscribes and all that good stuff because one, it just feels good when you put this stuff out into the world and people give you a good vibe that it's helpful or encouraging or whatever. Because, I could just sit here in this room and work right by myself and not do any of this video content stuff. But hey, if you're taking a look at this and it's been helpful to you, I really appreciate the good vibes. So that's that. I appreciate everybody taking a bit of time to watch this, and I hope to see you in the next one.